So we need to talk about the elephant in the room.
Me?
Look, I wasn't gonna say it, but thanks for saying it. No, the elephant in the room is Dean fucking Koontz. First of all, this guy's like a man of mystery, okay?
Yeah.
Like, there's like hardly any media on this guy.
We found one interview, or I found an interview, and it just raised more questions.
Yeah. Question number one, why the fuck is he shaking so much?
Yeah, what was up with that?
Question number two, a question that has bugged us for years. Why did you shave your fucking mustache off and get that horrible fucking hair transplant?
Yeah, that hairpiece is not on fleek.
It's not good.
Nope.
The point is, at one point in my life, I was a pretty big Dean Koontz fan.
Yeah.
The man could do no wrong in my eyes, and then he did some wrong. And boy, did I feel butt raped.
The wrong that he did was butt rape you, so it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. He snuck in at night. Accusation number 1 million.
Yep.
But no, man, Dean Koontz was one of my favorites, and he's churned out books like a fucking machine for years, and he's maintained his privacy pretty fucking well for someone that is one of the best-selling authors like ever. You know, he's a very private citizen, and a lot of people don't know a lot about him. He refuses to do interviews. It's very rare that he does, and when he does, again, like you said, just more questions come out of it.
What the hell is this?
He touches upon this idea in his book, Mr. Murder, which is currently seen right there, but is displaying his original face.
Yep, which, might I add, is pretty awesome.
It is awesome. Just something about the Burt Reynolds mustache and a bald pate that he just wears proudly.
Yeah.
That's cool, damn it. And I'm not just saying that because I'm bald. I'm saying that because it's cool. But he kind of touches on the subject in Mr. Murder. You know, he felt uncomfortable with being saddled with the idea of being called a horror guy, which he's really not. You know, he does dabble in horror, and a lot of his stuff have horror elements, but he also does a lot of sci-fi stuff, and he does a lot of comedy. He's kind of hard to pin down, is what I'm saying here, both literally in his literary output and in his life. You know, so I'm always wondering about Koontz.
Yeah.
But the point where I just kind of lost my gourd was...
This would be the perfect time for me to have a gourd prop and be like, I found it.
You know, we had a gourd prop, but it actually rotted before we got to use it for that very line.
Yep.
Not even kidding. But I had just read his book when it was released called Intensity. And, you know, very apropos title. It was quite an intense affair. And I thought this is the best he's done in a long while. And it wasn't really, you know, anything that was steeped heavily in horror or the supernatural. It was pretty much kind of like a thriller, straight up thriller. But I thought it was like the best work he'd done up to that point. And I was like, yeah, this is the shit right here. You know, I was excited, man. Yeah. And then he followed it up with Soul Survivor, which was neat. It was pretty cool. It just kind of ended in that way where they're like, I just kind of wrote like half the book, didn't you? Yeah. The hell's up with that? But I was like, oh, there's going to be a follow-up, right? There's got to be, right? So I expected a follow-up to Soul Survivor to come right next. But what came after was this little book called Fear Nothing, which has the distinguished honor of being the first book I actually threw away.
We've mentioned it before.
Yeah.
And now we're going to go in on the nitty-gritty, as you say.
Mm-hmm. We're getting in there in the gristle and bone. Yep. Since you took my nitty-gritty, it's now the gristle and bone of it all.
The crevices and the cracks.
Into the dirty crevice of this mystery.
Yeah.
And but it's really no mystery. The book fucking sucked. It was terrible. Now,
it sucked crevice.
Now it's one it's part one in a series of 3 books. There might be more by now. But it follows a character called Christopher Snow. And he's fine, but everybody else sucked. And just the way he wrote it sucked. You know, he was like really hung up on metaphors. Yeah. And he's big on metaphors, but this was like, how many metaphors can I stuff into something? Answer when a priest kicks somebody in the face. Just describe his fucking shoe hitting you as an ecclesiastical boot. It's pretty bad. It sucked.
Yeah.
And I could get over the mountain of metaphors. I could get over that. What I can't get over was how stupid the lame ass plot was. In the end, I mean, it's a little bit more intricate than this, but it doesn't help that it is. In fact, it being more intricate than this made it suckier. And So I'll just boil it down to the simplest of terms. The villains were monkeys.
Yep.
You know,
You were a fan of monkeys.
I love me a good ape.
Yep.
But these apes licked, and that's all there's to
That's
it.
all there's to it.
Again, I'm kind of oversimplifying that, but that's a good thing, because if I went into description, it would get worse. The point is, this book crushed my love of Dean Koontz.
Remember your hate for it. You would pick it up and throw it across the room.
I made sure and beat this book up before I finally just said, I can't keep this. It can't be in the same vicinity as I said it like that.
Yeah, you did.
I had a British accent at the
really
time.
Confusing, because we're in the middle of watching a movie, and I was like, what the hell are you talking about? I turn around, you're holding the book.
It was bad, man. It was that bad that I had to interrupt the movie. It was not good. I hated it.
Yeah.
And I kind of lost a lot of respect for Koontz. And then, people liked the book, which is fair. I mean, you can like what you want, but I was like, did I miss something? But I didn't want to revisit it because it was that bad. So I just abandoned Koontz, man. I just cold turkeyed Koontz.
You did for a long ass time.
Long fucking time. And then something happened.
Yep.
And that's mainly that I did some time.
Yep.
So I had to read anything that was in front of me or I would be bored. Out of my gourd. Speaking of gourds.
Yeah, gourds. They had a lot of gourds in there. So.
Yeah. A lot of people don't know that prison industries are gourd central.
It's actually the gourd.
It's actually nutsacks.
Damn it! Yours was way better on the bullshit I was going to make up.
But yeah, man, I was so bored in there that I had to read whatever came in front of me, which, of course, I sullied my eyes with James Patterson in there even because, you're just desperate to do something, anything. But it finally came time. I had to revisit Koontz. I mean, there were so many Koontz books in there that I was like, well...
You're literally laying in Koontz books.
Yeah.
Your beds are made of Koontz books.
I was just like, you know what? Maybe it was just that one time.
Yeah. I mean, Ape's pretty bad, though.
It just had to be that one time. He pleased me so many other times, both literally and figuratively. But
I don't even know what that means.
That it just had to be a one-off incident. So I revisited Koontz, and I remember the name of the book. It was called The Good Husband. It had a good premise, but again, I felt kind of half-hearted. But I wasn't too let down.
Yeah, it was all right.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? I mean, with a little tweak here, a little tweak there, I guess. And then I considered another thing. Now he's turning on books like James Patterson style. Like, there's one every fucking second. Like, there's 3 just released right now.
It's true.
There
goes another 3.
Yep. So I was like, all right, well, he is churning out a lot of stuff. Maybe this was just one of his lesser ones. And I did kind of enjoy most of it, but, some of it not. So I said, I'm going to give him another chance. And I came up on a little book called Innocence, which was fucking great. I mean, I'm talking like original Koontz level shit here. And I was like, damn, my boy's back. He looks like
shit.
He looks like fucking shit now with his stupid ass fucking toupee and a lack of mustache. But he's back. And I was happy, man. I was like, I can finally go back to old Koontz.
You were shaking with anticipation, much like he is.
I was. And in the process, I came across another book called Odd Thomas, which is part 1 in a series of books following the character named Odd Thomas.
Which is an odd choice.
It is. And this brought to mind something that I kind of had noticed for a while with Koontz. Mm-hmm. But I really started to notice as I progressed in my Koontz endeavors of his post-Fear Nothing books. He has a thing about naming his characters kind of weird.
Yep.
Not all of them. But when he goes into naming somebody a weird name,
they suck.
He goes whole fucking hog.
They're about as bad as his toupee.
Now, Odd Thomas isn't that weird because it kind of lends to the quirky nature of the character and the books themselves. And let me just finish that frame of thought before we get into the pressing matter of his fucking naming things. But Odd Thomas was pretty enjoyable, though, kind of like the villain angle was kind of anticlimactic, but it was a kind of a touching, quirky, fun book. So that was cool, man. I was like, all right, man. Old Koontz, he's back on track. I can dig, So I get home and I decide it's time to buy an old Koontz book.
Yep, it just so happened there's one at the Goodwill, because there's always one at the Goodwill.
Well, I did buy that one, but I haven't read it yet.
All right, that's the one.
And that's this one. Because guess what, folks? I am now once again afraid to read Koontz.
Yep.
Because before I decided to indulge in this, I bought this little nugget.
You bought this one new?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
I said, you know what? I'm gonna go all out here and buy a little Koontz book. Mm-hmm. Give him a little cash for his little shaking disease, apparently.
Apparently.
And maybe he needs a replacement toupee or whatever.
It's true. Despite the fact that you currently need a new stomach, you're like, I'm gonna give my money up to Dean Koontz.
I mean, might as well, right?
Yeah.
He did rape my eyes with Fear Nothing. But no, I said this sounds good. The premise sounded great.
We gotta say the name in case someone can't see.
Yeah, the book is called Life Expectancy, and the premise is pretty great. You know, some guy is raised with the idea that during 5 points in his life, there will be great events that happen to him. Mm-hmm. Life-changing events. So literally he's living his life from moment to moment, waiting for those specific 5 times when a life-changing event will happen in his life. That's pretty cool, man. You know, imagine if you knew for sure via some weird prediction that 5 specific dates in your life were going to be riddled with some fucking weirdness or life-changing shit.
It'd be pretty great unless there's a clown involved.
And therein lies the problem. You see, the villain of this little endeavor...
It's bad, dude. I can't even... Ooh.
Yeah, it was a clown.
Yep.
It was a fucking clown.
Yep.
And I'm not talking like some fucking...
We're not talking like cool clowns like it.
We're not talking some Pennywise clown shit. This is not some supernatural clown. This is not even a remotely creepy clown. This is just some asshole clown... that happened to be in the hospital waiting for his kid to be born at the same time that our main character was being born. That's right. It starts before our main character is being born. But anyway, this motherfucking clown sucks. All right?
We gotta address his name, though.
Well, his name was Bezo.
Yeah.
Conrad Bezo.
Conrad.
Which is not that bad. Like, Conrad? All right.
Conrad's a name. Bezo's pretty bad.
Bezo's pretty shit.
It's horrid.
And it's Bezo the clown, so that sucks. Anyway, turns out our fucking clown is psychotic, right?
Yeah.
So, all right, I guess, psychotic clown, whatever. Anyway, long story short, he goes crazy because his wife ends up dying during the pregnancy. He blames the doctor, shoots everyone, and at the same time that this is happening, our main character is being born, and his grandpa, before he fucking croaks, because for some reason he's also on the verge of death, at the same hospital. I'm sorry, it wasn't his grandpa. It was some old fuck. Some old fuck at the hospital predicts that this person, I think it was his grandpa. Anyway, the point
old guy
predicts that this person, this main character of ours, will have these 5 days in his life, right? So this all happens in the same night.
Yeah.
Our main character's dad encounters Conrad, the fucking clown Bezo.
Yep.
Blah, 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 yakety schmackety. Years pass, and our main character's grown up. And lo and behold, wouldn't you know it, the fucking clown just keeps coming back in his life.
It does.
But not only the clown, but now the clown's son. That's right, because when the clown shot everyone in his passion-fueled frenzy to kill the people that he felt for some reason responsible for his wife's death at pregnancy, no less, he stole his kid. All right, fair enough. Except this kid, he names him Punchinello Bezo.
Yep, Punchinello.
Look, I realize not everybody knows that Punchinello is synonymous with clown, but
it's bad.
Who would name their fucking kid Punchinello Bezo?
Yeah, it's just, ooh.
So already you're walking a thin line of seriousness here. You're like, I can't take this Bezo clown character very seriously. It sucks. But then you introduce this asshole named Punchinello, and you're just out of it. You're like, what the fuck? How am I supposed to react to a villain named Punchinello? Needless to say, this thing turns into an affair that is reminiscent of a horrible soap opera. And by the end...
There's also another character called Virgilio Vivacemente.
Yep. That's Conrad Bezo's wife's father.
Yep.
Who is the head of a trapeze artist group at the circus. I shit you fucking not. That's an actual thing. You know what's worse than that? One of the character's best friends in this movie is called Chilson Strawberry. No. I'm sorry, Strawberry Chilson. Forgive me. The fuck is that shit?
Man.
Nobody's named that ever.
Nope.
Not in the most hippie community. Not to mention that Dean Koontz is like a pretty big right winger. You know, he's pretty conservative. You know, as evidenced by the tons of guns in his books. But the point is, there's no hippie in the world that would name their kid Strawberry Chilson or whatever the fuck, or Punchinello Bezo, much less some conservative fuck. The point is, nobody's named this shit. Okay, the book sucked, and it ends up with some fucking twin twist like a soap opera. That's not the point. The point is it sucked. And the bigger point is, he has a problem with names sometimes. Yeah. Like, I was about to get another Koontz book. I was about to go on a limb again, and then I read the summary, and I found out there was somebody in it called Leilani Klonk. Leilani? All right. I've known one Leilani. Klonk? With a K?
Yep.
I remember the first time I encountered a bad Dean Koontz name. It was actually a very good book. He actually rewrote his original Demon Seed, which there was a movie based on that, by the way. But anyway, I wanted to read this rewrite he did, and I was very pleased. You know, it was still thrilling and suspenseful, but he added this kind of sharp edge of humor, which was pretty neat and enjoyable. And he added kind of like a weird Frankensteinian subplot to it, which was pretty neat. Except that that character, the weird kind of experiment guy, he had a name. And his name was Enos Schenk. The fuck is that?
A legendary Enos Schenk.
Now, I will say that when I read Enos Schenk, I wasn't annoyed. I was like, nobody in the world is named that. Ever. Not once. But I did have some fun with it.
Yeah, you did.
I read this when I was in high school, and, one of my friends, he missed a few days from history class. So he called me up and he's like, hey man, can you give me the notes for history? Because there was a test coming up. And I gave him notes. It was some Revolutionary War era shit.
Yeah.
And I made sure and inserted Enos Schenk
as much as possible.
As much as possible in the events of our American Revolution. So when he got a fucking 0, that was all on Dean Koontz.
Yep.
Not me. Dean Koontz. The point is, he should have known better because he was also a Dean Koontz fan. So fuck that log leg. But the point is here, man, there's a problem with Koontz. And I think it has to do with the fact that it just coincidentally, man, right around the Fear Nothing time.
It's true. This is very true.
He lost the mustache.
He did.
And then he got this stupid transplant or toupee. I think he lost some of his mojo.
It's like a Samson type.
Yeah, it's like a Samson thing. Now, every now and then he'll touch into it, but so did Samson, you know?
Yeah.
You know? Shit came to shit. He was like, hey, I'm going to knock down these pillars.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta knock down a pillar or two.
And he does every now and then. But the problem
But for the most part, he sucks.
Yeah, for the most part, he's getting whipped by whoever the fuck, who was the Philistines. This Samson... This Samson metaphor is not working out. Speaking of metaphors, yeah. Look, man,
I have a theory that Dean Koontz is now not writing his books.
It's possible,
or a lot of his books.
At the rate that he's writing books, it's some James Patterson shit.
Yeah.
Now James Patterson writes 1 million books, but he's gotten to the point where he can't hide that he has, co-writers and ghostwriters. So he just puts James Patterson in like 10 fucking story high letters and then with whoever,
Yeah.
And I think maybe Koontz is indulging in some of that because he's churning them out. But then again, he's always been a pretty prolific writer. And he has mentioned, look, in one of the rare interviews with him, he did mention that people have taken note of the change in his style, which there is a dramatic change in the way he writes now to the way he wrote then. He was a lot more descriptive, there was a lot more to bite into. Now he's writing in that James Patterson style, short chapters, real, moving along. Well, I shouldn't say moving along because his are always page turners, but even when they stink like sphinxes, the point is, his style did change rather dramatically. It's a lot more barren now, and it doesn't feel as much as like he has a love affair with it anymore.
Yeah.
Than he did
once.
Kind of
he's doing it.
Yeah. But again, every now and then you touch on something that he genuinely loves. So I don't know if it's that or if it's just that, he's in automatic mode.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck. The point is he needs to grow that stash back, shave that shitty transplant off.
Yep.
I don't know, get some more dogs, because that's kind of like a thing with him.
Start doing more black and white pictures.
Yes, more black and white pictures. And I'm okay with him using shitty names as long as the stories don't fucking blow my rat's nuts off. Because this Punchinello Bezos shit sucks.
You're a rat.
I don't know why I have rat's nuts. But apparently I have rodent testicles.
Yeah, you do.
The point is, Koontzy, the fuck's wrong with you, bro? Get right before you get dead, because by the looks of it, you're on the fucking road.
He's shaking pretty hard.
I don't know what the hell's going on.
There's a whole lot of shaking going on.
I think he has maybe Parkinson's.
Maybe, yeah.
I don't know. Just a theory. Yep. Which just now makes me feel bad that
you just shat on him for a good 20 minutes.
But fuck it. You wrote Fear Nothing and Life Expectancy, so fuck you. But the point is, I don't know what the point of that. The point is, this fucking naming scheme sucks. Anyway, tell us what you think about Koontz. Because I just fucking told you what I thought about. But yeah, man, I just hope for the day when, Oh, actually, you know what? I hope for the day one that he becomes more consistent in the style of intensity. And I also kind of hope that we finally get a good Dean Koontz adaptation. To screen, because that's kind of been a fucking rocky history. The only one that I like is Phantoms, and I mean, it's not fantastic, but it's a very enjoyable movie, and it did pretty decent at adapting what was in the book. Although I feel the book is a lot more epic feeling, but it was pretty decent in terms of that. A really weird lighting scheme, but it was cool. But other than that, the adaptations have been pretty much shit. Demon Seed was alright, I guess, for an old ass movie that sucked. The Funhouse from Tobe Hooper was fun, but it wasn't his book.
The book, right?
And then he just said, "You know what? That sucks so much," and he rewrote it.
Yeah.
So and he was right. I mean, it wasn't right because I liked the Funhouse, the movie,
but it wasn't great.
But it wasn't. It was very barren. It was very minimalist. There was really nothing big going on, And he just went balls out and weirded it up. Added some fucking Leilani clocks or some shit.
Added some Punchinellos.
Hideaway with Jeff Goldblum is one of the worst fucking adaptations of all time. It's like modern Koontz adapted his own book. Because fuck, it sucked. It was terrible, man. And that's one of my favorite Koontz books. And it sucked so much donkeys that I want to kick it in the nuts.
It sucked your rat nuts?
It sucked my rat nuts. Man, it was bad. Intensity had a TV movie adaptation that wasn't really good. I mean, when High Tension's a better version of Intensity, that tells you something. But anyway,
it was Odd Thomas.
Odd Thomas was pretty good. The problem is that they got all the wrong people, with the exception of Anton Yelchin, who's dead now, by the way, to play Odd Thomas. Everybody else was the wrong person cast in the role. Now, I know what you're thinking. You didn't write the book, you fucknut. What do you know about casting? Well, I don't know shit. But the point is, I know this. Those people were not the right people for the characters. It was just, they were such quirky and unique characters, and that's really what made the book good. Versus the plot, which was kind of humdrum standard and stuff. Maybe even a little anticlimactic. So they dropped the ball on that. The point is, he finally made a deal. He kind of took back his movie licenses and said, "I'm never letting people adapt anything again." But recently he loosened up the old sphincter and said, "You know what?
Probably needs money for a new hair transplant."
Yeah. Or maybe he's realizing I can de-transplant and put all that hair on my lip.
It's true.
Which would be the biggest mustache in the world. But, no, yeah, he finally loosened up the old beehole. Still going with that metaphor. And he's going to let people adapt his books, so hopefully we'll see some of that. Hopefully they'll start with the old stuff.
Yeah. Life expectancy film coming soon.
Oh, man.
To Lifetime channel.
That would be the worst. But the point is, I'm hoping for the best before it croaks. We'll see what happens, man.
Yep.
Old Koontz.
Yep.
Coming back at you. like that?
Okay.
Anyway, this has been Ahab ranting and raving about the Koontzer. It's probably going to be one of the few videos on YouTube about Koontz.
Dean Koontz, yeah.
So that's good for any clicks.
Anyone who's looking for Dean Koontz interviews will see this and instantly hate us.
Yep. But that's okay. We can do with hate.
Yep.
So like, share, and subscribe, or hate. Either way, we're good. And, hit that old notification so you could get our 1 trillion videos a week
Yep.
that we sometimes churn out.
Sometimes.
And
We're about as inconsistent as Dean Koontz is.
we're pretty inconsistent. The point is, if you want to see two fat fucks ranting, the place to be is right here. Anyway, it's been Ahab and the Goontick, and we're out.